'Twas the day before Christmas, when all through the shop nothing was stirring, just a creator on his laptop. The shed was clean, it had been a busy year, so he thought he'd relax and have a couple of beers. After opening the first beer with the delusion of calm, he remembered he'd forgotten.
A gift for my mum.
It must be simple and easy to make, but the gift still must be full of class and not a piss take. With panic rising fast, he knew he had only hours to spare. He finally had an idea and leapt from his chair. Let's make some pot holders for the bench when it's hot. I must make sure I've got some timber without knots.
Voila. Look at that.
Well, you now understand why I'm a woodworker and not a poet. Alright, so here I'm making a couple of templates. Instead of just making a one-off, I thought I'd make some templates so I can duplicate the process, and these will be perfect for doing that. These pot holders ain't my original idea. I saw these on the interweb and I thought they'd be a great little project for the shed. They don't look overly complicated, but we'll see how we go. Quick clean up with the block plane on the straight edges, and then a bit of sanding on the curved edges, make nice smooth curves, and we're left with a couple of nice little patterns to make our potholes with. I'm going to use some scrap Quila, decking Quila. This is decking Quila I've got here. This is left over from the picnic table I build. There's a previous video where I build a picnic table out of this timber. I had some of these bits left over, so the first thing we'll do is we'll cut them to width. There's two different widths for the smaller one and the larger pot holder. We'll now cut them to length. I've put a little stop block on the end of this so that I can just repeat the cuts and get them all the same length. Now we'll put the curves in the bottom of them. This is when the pattern becomes really handy. I'll use this onto the block and then I'll mark the curve, and then we'll be able to go ahead and cut the curve out. With these little projects, it's sometimes good to make a batch of them. So instead of just making a one-off, I'm going to make a batch of the larger ones and the small ones. Using a spoke shave here, this is a really quick little tool here to clean up the saw cuts out of the timber. Really nice and quick to do it. It makes a lovely clean job as well. I'm marking out the half lap joints that are going to go into these now so that they lock together. I'll use a marking knife so I've got I can create a bit of a shoulder and make nice clean cuts because you want this joint to be not super tight but nice and snug. It's important to get the depth right on these two cuts. We don't want to make them too deep because we want the top of the pot holders to be flush. So I'm going to leave them fractionally short and then level the pockets out later. First cut's on a bit of scrap here. This I'll check the depth. You know what the rule is, you check twice, cut once. So we'll check the depth, and if it's right, we'll carry on. I may take one or two cuts to sneak up onto the knife cut that I've left on the wood. We don't want to make these half lap joints loose. Like I said, we want to keep them nice and snug, so I'll sneak up to the edge of the knife and just take the knife mark off, and then I'll use the saw there just to clean out the rest of the pocket. Checking for fit now. I'll check it, and if it's too tight, I'll just take it back to the saw and just gradually take little tiny slithers off till I get a fit that I'm happy with. Setting the depth here for the other side, for the other half lap joint. This will be on the curved side of the pot holder, so hence the difference in depth. But the process is pretty much the same. Set the depth, cut off the two sides and the waist, cut out the waist, and then check for fit and sneak up to the fit. I'll clean up one half lap of the joint with a chisel, make that all nice and clean, and then the other side, or the other half lap, I've set my router plane to the depth needed to make a nice fit and a nice flush fit at the top, and I'll clean up the second pocket with this router plane, and then it should give us a nice flush finish. Now if the fit's too tight, as you can see here, it's a little bit tight, almost there but not quite, I'll just take my smoothing plane, and I'll just take a couple of very fine slithers off each side, and then that should give us a nice snug fit. And that's just what we're looking for, a nice snug fit, and it's nice and flush across the top, so it's a nice plane or flat plane. The templates are coming in handy again here. I'm drilling the pilot hole for the larger holes that I'm going to drill through the ends of these pot holders using the patterns I previously cut out. Makes it nice and simple to put those pilot holes in. Now these holes ain't necessary, they're really just for looks, just to give it a little bit more flashness, and as well it allows you to hang it in the kitchen if you want them hanging, next to the oven or stove, so they're in easy reach. I set the saw up here with a 14-degree bevel and then put another stop block, and now I'll just cut the bevels into the bottoms of the pot holders. I want to put a bit of a chamfer at the bottom of these legs, so I'm marking them out now. I'm using the mortise and tenon gauge here just to put a couple of pinholes into the wood, and then what I can do is I'll put the pencil into the pinhole and then align it up to the outside of the block, and then I can mark the lines of where I want to plane to. Nice and simple. And using the block plane, we'll just work the chamfer on the end of the pot holder down to the lines to give us a nice sort of large taper on the leg going to the centre of the pot holders. You can see these chamfers running from the centre out. Whatever you do, don't run the chamfer right through. I learnt that lesson because it doesn't work because of this reason. This is the first one that I was working on. You can see I put the chamfer running right through. I thought this would be the simpler way of doing it, but what happens is it makes it weak, and you'll see how the centre block just rolls out and makes it very unstable. So whatever you do, don't run the chamfer through the middle. I learnt that lesson. Using the router with a chamfering cutter on it, I just chamfered the top of these pieces. Once again, I didn't run the chamfer all the way through. I left the middle without a chamfer and then just ran it on the two sides. It gives it a nice sort of subtle effect. Using the rounded spoke shave again here, we'll just put some more chamfers on this just to give it a little bit more nicer look. So we'll put a couple of bevel chamfers on the inside edge of the bottom of this pothole. Once we've done that, we'll take the block plane again, and I don't know how many times I've said chamfered, but we're going to chamfer the outside edges of this as well, just to tidy it all up. From there, I give them a bit of a sand with some 180 sandpaper just to tidy up the little fluffy bits and that sort of thing, and then they're almost ready for finish. And there you go, they're all done. And as you can see with the demonstration, this is how they work. Hot pot comes off the stove and you can put them on them to protect your bench and or your tabletop. They're a simple construction. 2 half-lap joints just go together. This means you can pull them apart and they can sit in your cutlery drawer out of the way till you need them, or like I say, if you want to, you could hang them up as well. But they're a simple and clever little device which I think would make a great gift. The other thing is that with the curve in the bottom, you can flip them up, and if you've got a wok with a curved bottom, it can sit inside these as well. So they're a multi-use product. So there we have it. Some simple, easy to make pot holders. Something for someone that they can store in their drawer or hang on a wall. Easy to put together. Goes on the bench, pot goes on that. You're not burning anything up. Or putting burn ring marks in the bench that your wife's going to go nuts on. So they're not complicated, but I think they're very effective, and I think they're quite a smart little gift. You know, I could have just stopped without putting the chamfers on the side and tidying them up a bit, but that's when you take a gift from, you know, just a standard block process to something with a bit more finesse and looks a little bit smarter. Of course you can make these without the patterns. You can make one-offs, but the patterns are good because you're able to duplicate them and make them when you need to make them. So they'll be. I think they'll be good gifts, and I think my mum will like hers, and it'll get a lot of use. So that's it. So that's 2024. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for watching any of my videos that you've looked at. I really appreciate your support. Thank you for subscribing if you subscribe to my videos. And everything else you've done, if you've put a thumbs up to one of my videos or put a comment in, I very much appreciate it. I haven't quite hit 1,000 subscribers yet, but I'm slowly creeping towards that goal. But I have achieved 100,000 hours of views on my videos, which
is quite astounding, really, when you're considering I'm just an amateur in a shed trying to make it up as he goes along. So I really appreciate everyone's support. I want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I hope you have a really good break. I hope you enjoy Christmas and time with the family. And yeah, on to the next project.